In 2022, a strange website was created. One that, at first glance, appeared as nothing more than an old informational site about a children's TV show. But after navigating the website, passers-by came to realize that this piece of media never existed. Like a lot of internet mysteries, a fandom exploded out of this discovery, with art, dialogue, and more being created at an exponential rate. It was your typical internet rise to fame story. But when you look at this community today, it's nothing more than a zombie of its former self. Something happened here. Corporations like Marvel, Disney, and DC dominate the media with their massive teams and polished productions. This large spotlight is accompanied by PR teams, marketing sectors, and, most of all, an expectation of this media attention from these creators. But what happens when a single indie creator captures a small amount of that attention? How do fans react to an accessible indie creation? Enter Welcome Home, the indie darling of 2023. The horror story that became a mass hit almost overnight. But that came with consequences. Let's see how the Welcome Home fandom misinterpreted and reinterpreted canon creations to their liking, and how that applies overall to fan communities. Before that, let me introduce myself. I'm Sunny Dionysus. I'm an artist, a video essayist, and most of all, an annoyance. I'm fascinated by our digital age and how fandoms shape and reshape the stories they love. So, I need to yap about it somewhere people may listen. If that sounds appealing, make sure to subscribe and like the video. Welcome Home is an interactive website designed as a fictional restoration of a lost media TV show from the distant past. According to the official description, the show focused on the neighbors, a colorful cast of puppets living in the neighborhood. It blended animated breaks, puppeteered segments, and illustrated storybook elements. The site, created by a single known artist as Clown, mimics a restoration project by quote-unquote unearthing artifacts like character designs, storyboards, and behind-the-scenes materials. However, the cheerful surface conceals a darker, more unsettling narrative, perfectly fitting the definition of an ARG, an alternate reality game. An ARG is colloquially defined as a multimedia interactive storytelling mystery, one that depends on the audience to solve it, which fits Welcome Home perfectly. Looking at the website itself, the story is incredibly real and convincing. Unlike other ARGs, it doesn't leave any stone unturned, visually or narratively. It's so obvious that this project was created by one master out of blood, sweat, and shiny glitter. Yet, as you click through the pages filled with charming illustrative elements, you notice something off about Wally, our neighbor. As the most prominent puppet in the neighborhood, he also seems to be the friendliest. That facade ends the more you look. The truth about Wally is still mysterious, but he is undeniably at the center of everything unnerving on the site. A prime example of this is the descriptions for all the neighbors. On the main page, there is a click-through slideshow of the cast and a description of each one of their personality traits. The strange thing is that all the puppets' descriptions are in past tense. Julie was an actor in theater. Barnaby was the class clown. But Wally is an artist. Wally currently lives in his home. Wally is in present tense throughout his description, in stark contrast to his peers. Along with that detail, he breaks the fourth wall continually. He alludes to the fact that he notices and sees the viewer through hidden code and links. With eye motifs and voice recordings seemingly talking to us, the player, It looks like he wants to keep this awareness of the ARG away from the main cast. The fans, however, did not abide by that fictitious rule. As Jenkins noted in his 2006 book, Convergence Culture Where Old and New Media Collide, fans are the most active segment of the media audience, one that refuses to simply accept what they are given, but rather insists on the right to become full participants. While he heavily criticizes this insistence, it still rings true today. Fandom cultures like the Backrooms and Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared have become even more intense with the rise of online spheres. They, like Welcome Home, heavily depend on an online fan base. While refusing to accept what you are given can be a quality that moves the creation forward positively, it also can yank it back even more. I was speaking to Mateo, who was a heavily involved member of the Welcome Home community, and he mentioned something interesting about Clown, the creator. Mateo said that it felt like the fandom did a disservice to Clown's project and took the characters, especially Wally, as their own. In the early days of the fandom, there was little concrete information about Wally and the neighbors, which led fans to fill in the blanks themselves. This phenomena, while a testament to the creativity of the fan base, also had unintended consequences. Fans continually elaborated and edited these characters' traits to suit their preferences, sometimes in ways that diverged significantly from the creator's intent. One of the most contentious issues arose with the inclusion of sexual themes in fanworks, particularly depictions of Wally as a, quote, sexy character. This trend sparked significant disputes, both within the fan community and from Clown directly. While fans were working with limited canonical material, the mischaracterization of Wally as an edgy puppet persona was obviously far removed from Clown's vision. These exaggerated interpretations cross boundaries, making the creator uncomfortable and adding unnecessary tension to the project's reception. Details like Wally's friendship with another neighbor, Barnaby, or how the themes of entrapment play in his character are erased. His fascination with the player and the psychological horror that comes along with it is twisted into something else entirely. This clash between creator and fandom underscores a broader challenge in online culture, balancing creative freedom with respect to the original work and its boundaries. Welcome Home exemplifies the power of restraint, how leaving things unsaid can spark intrigue, but also how ambiguity invites misinterpretation. In my view, this cycle of misinterpretation ultimately cannibalized the fandom, leading many to forget why they engaged with the project in the first place. During its peak, infighting became commonplace, fueled by the mystery surrounding the characters. With no definite answers, no one could claim to be right, creating endless disputes. The combination of the site's enigmatic nature, its indie origins, and the accessibility of Clown via social media created a perfect storm of conflict. While many fandoms persist despite internal tensions, Welcome Home faced a unique struggle. The very factors that fueled its rise, mystery and accessibility, also made it unsustainable. These days, the Welcome Home fandom is much less active than it was just a year or two ago. It's not dead, per se, but it is a lot more low-key. Fanworks can still be found through searching through the Welcome Home Reddit, and the site itself is still updating. I suspect that the fandom being smaller is better for both the creator and the current fans. Clown seemed kind of uncomfortable with the bright spotlight, and at times the fans reacted poorly to their boundaries being asserted. In this article by Whiteman, the term zombie fandom describes a community that is neither fully active nor entirely gone. This concept fits the current state of the Welcome Home fandom. While the site continues to update and fan works appear sporadically, the fervor of its peak has subsided. This is not necessarily a bad thing, especially for Welcome Home. Whiteman states that confronting the end of things can be seen to be productive in provoking responses, whether those be individual reflections on the past or social efforts to stabilize in response. I believe that confronting the end of the Welcome Home rush of fandom leads to stabilization for the people who still follow the site. For indie creators like Clown, a more subdued fandom can allow for a return to thoughtful storytelling without the overwhelming noise of mass attention. Last year, a strange website was created, one that, at first glance, appeared as nothing more than an old informational site about a children's TV show. It rose to internet fame, created a culture that was inspired and healthy, and then that very same culture cannibalized itself. Now it sits quietly, the aftermath of a storm that nobody could have anticipated. Ultimately, Welcome Home's rise and quieting exemplify the double-edged sword of indie creations going viral. The intensity of fan interpretation can enrich the experience, but also risk overshadowing the creator's vision. Welcome Home's fandom was never all bad. Plenty of people were entirely respectful and kind. But, perhaps in a calmer aftermath, both the project and its fans can find a healthier, more balanced home. What do you guys think? Can fandoms and creators coexist harmoniously in today's digital age? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your discussion.